My name is Eliza Hart. They interrupted me 3 times before the appetizers arrived. By dessert, the breaking news behind them said what I no longer needed to. I'm a 35-year-old investigative journalist who had spent years chasing truth in Portland's shadowed corners, a path far removed from the polished lives my family chased with relentless pride. It was March 2025, and the family dinner unfolded at a sleek downtown restaurant overlooking the Willamette River, its glass walls reflecting the city's twinkling lights, a stark contrast to the tension simmering at our table. The air carried the scent of cedarwood from the decor and the faint clink of wine glasses, the spring evening casting a soft glow over the white tablecloth setting where my relatives gathered. My mother, a retired PR executive with a commanding presence, my father, a corporate lawyer with a love for order, and my sister Claire, a rising TV anchor whose polished smile lit up local screens. I'd been summoned for this rare gathering, a reluctant guest amid their celebration of Claire's latest promotion to a national network, her success a beacon they revered. "She's the only one who made it," my mother had said before the first course, her voice cutting through the chatter, my father nodding with approval, their praise a barrier I couldn't shatter, their words lingering like a bitter aftertaste. I sat quietly, my worn notebook, filled with whistleblower tips and scribbled leads, tucked beside me, a stark contrast to Claire's designer handbag, my fingers nervously tracing its edges. They were oblivious to my work, Unveiled Truth, an independent journalism platform I'd launched 3 years ago with $3,500 from freelance gigs, now valued at $28,000 and earning $2,500 monthly from subscriber donations. The interruptions began early. First, my father dismissing my attempt to share a story about a local corruption scandal, then my mother cutting me off to praise Claire's on-air charisma, and finally Claire herself interrupting with a laugh about my hobby. Each time I swallowed my frustration, the clatter of silverware a mocking rhythm, but by dessert the tide turned. The screen behind them, a constant news feed on the restaurant's wall, flickered with breaking news. Eliza Hart's exposé shakes City Hall. The room fell silent, their forks pausing mid-air, my mother's glass trembling slightly, my father's jaw dropping, and Claire's smile fading as they turned to see my name in bold letters. The report detailed my latest investigation, a months-long dig into a bribery ring tied to a prominent developer, evidence I'd uncovered through anonymous sources and late-night stakeouts, now breaking nationally. My heart raced, a mix of vindication and dread, as the anchor's voice detailed how my story had forced a federal probe. Why the sudden freeze? I had no answer, but their shock hinted at a deeper secret. Had they known of my work all along? Had my success threatened their narrative? The moment planted a seed of intrigue as I excused myself, stepping into the cool Portland night, the river's murmur a backdrop to my swirling thoughts. Our backstory was a web of family tension and unspoken rivalry, woven into Portland's eclectic streets. Growing up in the Pearl District with its converted warehouses and artsy vibe, I was the dreamer daughter, always scribbling notes in a journal while Claire excelled in debate club and media internships, her poise a mirror to my scruffy determination. Our divide widened when I chose investigative journalism in 2017, rejecting my mother's push for PR, her polished campaigns, or my father's law firm, a path they deemed unstable. Claire soared at the network, her engagement to a producer a triumph, while I built Unveiled Truth in a cramped apartment near the East Bank Esplanade, the city's misty air a companion to my late-night research fueled by black coffee and grit. By 2022, I'd secured a $5,000 grant from a press freedom fund, hiring a mentor, journalist Mara Singh, for $1,000, her guidance a lifeline, my savings reaching $4,500 as I broke stories on local graft. The dinner exposed their ignorance, igniting a fire to prove my worth with my pen. Their reaction suggested a hidden link. Had they seen my early scoops? Had Claire's network buried them? A mystery that lingered as I walked home, the city lights reflecting off the wet pavement, each glimmer a question. The journey began with renewed resolve, a quiet vow under the dim light of my desk lamp. I returned to my space, the faint hum of the esplanade audible through the window, and reviewed Unveiled Truth's progress, my desk cluttered with leaked documents and recorder tapes, a map of my ambitions etched in ink and determination. My latest exposé, Corruption on the Willamette, had gained traction with a $1,200 pledge from a watchdog group, a modest win that fueled my drive. I worked 60-hour weeks, my eyes strained from screens, guided by Mara's insight into the developer's network, a gap I could exploit with my relentless digging. My savings rose to $5,500, and I invested $1,800 in better recording gear, projecting $3,000 returns to expand my reach. At a press event in April 2025, held in a crowded hall with the scent of coffee, I shared a teaser, earning a $1,400 grant from an ethics foundation, my voice steady despite my nerves. But Darius's presence, networking with media execs, his suit a symbol of power, unsettled me, his glance toward my booth a chilling moment. Could I challenge a network giant? I pressed on, drafting a plan on a cafe napkin in the rain, the ink smearing, a symbol of my fight against family dismissal and his dominance. The confrontation simmered as I met Mara, her data showing the developer's vulnerabilities. Expose them, she urged. A former colleague, Leo, warned of retaliation, fueling my ambition to turn their interruptions into my headline. I expanded Unveiled Truth with a $3,000 crowdfunding goal, savings at $6,000, valuation at $32,000. Leo's caution about Darius's ties was ignored. A rival blog stole my lead, linked to Darius, costing me a $1,800 exclusive, a loss that stung. A source backed out, citing pressure, hinting at his influence. Was this sabotage? In my apartment, rain tapping, I felt the dinner's sting and a rising challenge. What did Darius know, and why did my name on the news freeze them? The sting of my family's interruptions and the shocked silence when my name hit the news lingered as I sat at my Portland desk, the faint glow of the Willamette River reflecting through the window, its gentle ripples a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside me. The $1,400 Ethics Foundation grant was a fragile victory, my savings at $6,000, but the $1,800 exclusive loss to a rival blog and the source's withdrawal gnawed at me, signs of Darius's influence tightening its grip. Was this sabotage to silence my exposé? My hands, rough from typing late-night reports, trembled as I reviewed leaked documents, the ink smudges blurring with my racing thoughts. Mara's faith in my journalism was a lifeline, but doubt crept in. Could I withstand a media mogul's power? I called Leo, his voice tense over the line, confirming Darius's history of burying stories. He'll crush you if he can, he warned. I steeled myself, the hum of my laptop a steady pulse, determined to turn their dismissals into my byline. The next week, I met Mara at a quiet cafe near the Pearl District, the scent of roasted coffee and the murmur of freelancers grounding me amid the tension. Her furrowed brow scanned the rival blog's theft and the source's retraction letter, the papers crinkling under her fingers. This is deliberate, she said, sketching a plan: secure new leaks, boost visibility, expose Darius's tactics. I nodded, the clink of cups a rhythmic beat, and reached out to whistleblowers, their cautious interest a glimmer of hope. I launched a Truth Unveiled crowdfunding campaign, investing $1,500 from my savings, now at $4,500, projecting $3,000 returns to fund deeper digs. In my apartment, I briefed my small team, a researcher, a fact-checker, in the cramped space, the air thick with the scent of old paper and determination. We're targeted, I explained, showing the evidence, my voice steady despite their concerned glances. Their nods, a blend of resolve and solidarity, bolstered me, their commitment a shield. My valuation crept to $34,000, a number both promising and vulnerable. My ascent gained momentum, a surge of purpose driving my keyboard. I secured a $2,500 commission with a nonprofit for a corruption series, their enthusiasm lifting my spirits, and invested $1,200 in encrypted comms, projecting $2,500 returns. My savings stabilized at $4,800, and I upgraded my setup with better software, working 60-hour weeks to refine Corruption on the Willamette, Amid Portland's competitive media scene, the city's misty air a constant companion. Leo called, his voice laced with worry, urging caution against Darius's retaliation, his own scars from a suppressed story fresh. But I hung up, his advice a distraction, my focus sharpening with each draft. The commission added $1,600 monthly, a steady stream that fueled my confidence. Mara's update unsettled me. Darius had been seen with network execs, his influence pushing a smear campaign against my credibility, their alliance a calculated move. He's protecting his empire, Mara said, her tone grim. But his ratings are slipping. Viewers want raw truth. The rivalry burned, pushing me to outreport them all. The pressure escalated a month later, a test of my tenacity. I hosted a live Q&A on my platform, the virtual room alive with the hum of 200 subscribers, earning a $2,000 pledge for my next exposé. But tension brewed. Darius's network aired a hit piece questioning my sources, his smug tone a taunt, and a critic's blog hinted at his sway, casting doubt on my integrity. My heart sank, the trust I'd built now shadowed, but I doubled down, investing $1,000 from my savings, now at $3,800, to counter with verified clips. A legal notice arrived, vague but ominous, suggesting Darius's allies were probing my platform's compliance, a subtle threat that tightened my chest. Was this his move? I consulted Mara, her analysis suggesting a public challenge to reclaim the narrative. I agreed, planning a live broadcast to unveil my findings, the risk heightening my resolve. The event, streamed from my apartment under the glow of a ring light, drew 300 viewers, my voice steady as I presented evidence, explaining my methodology. The chat's cheers were a boost, but Darius's network preempted with a rebuttal, his presence a digital shadow, his expression cold, sending a chill. Support surged, lifting my pledges to $2,300 monthly, yet the pressure mounted. The rivalry deepened as Leo visited, his face etched with concern, bringing news of Darius's faltering reputation. He's losing trust, he said, sharing data on his network's 12% viewership drop since my rise. I seized the opportunity, launching a Truth Rally campaign to counter his narrative, their support a digital wave that fortified my base. I secured my setup, adding $1,000 in cybersecurity and a part-time editor, my savings at $2,800, the team's spirit a bond against the storm. But sabotage struck. Darius's ally hacked my site, delaying a $1,400 release, the breach a bitter pill. I reported it to cyber authorities, their probes slow but promising, my frustration simmering. Darius's shadow loomed larger, his wedding freeze now a riddle. Had he seen my early drafts? Standing in my apartment, the river's glow casting warmth, I felt the dinner's wound and a challenge that tested my every scoop. The truth was close, but what would it cost? The hacked site and Darius's cold rebuttal from the live broadcast haunted me as I sat at my Portland desk, the stove's warm glow casting flickering shadows across the cluttered room, the Willamette River's distant murmur a faint heartbeat through the cracked window. The Truth Rally campaign had rallied citizen journalists, boosting my pledges to $2,800 monthly, my savings at $2,800, but the sabotage and legal threats loomed large, the air thick with the musty scent of old files and the sharp edge of uncertainty that clung to my skin. The truth behind Darius's freeze was tantalizingly close, a story I could almost write, yet the cost, financial strain, family fallout, hung heavy, a shadow over my every keystroke. My hands, rough from endless typing, steadied as I drafted a new exposé, the hum of my laptop a rhythmic pulse to my resolve. Leo's warning about Darius's desperation echoed, and I knew the next move was mine, to confront the past and claim my journalistic legacy. The investigation into the site hack broke open the following week, a turning point that shifted the narrative. Cyber authorities, spurred by my report and public outcry, traced the breach to a network insider linked to Darius's media empire, the clatter of their digital raid echoing through Portland's tech circles as they uncovered manipulated logs designed to derail my platform. The news spread like wildfire across social media, the city's coffee shops buzzing with murmurs and the tap of keyboards, My name vindicated as viewers turned against Darius's tactics with a fervor that surprised me. I felt a surge of pride, a warmth spreading through my chest, but the $1,400 delayed release remained a lingering wound, its loss a constant reminder. Mara called, her voice triumphant over the static line, sharing data on Darius's network losing 15% viewership since my rise, and a cryptic memo hinting at a past scandal he'd buried. "He's unraveling," she said, her tone sharp with possibility. "Strike now." I seized the moment, launching a Truth Exposed live special, investing $1,200 from my dwindling savings, now at $1,600, streaming from my apartment with enhanced security. The event drew 400 viewers, the chat alive with the hum of support and the scent of coffee from my mug, earning a $3,000 grant from a Press Freedom Coalition, a milestone that lifted my valuation to $38,000. The rivalry reached its peak as I prepared for the special's climax, the air thick with anticipation. I invited Claire, hoping to bridge the family divide that had fueled my drive, her presence at my setup a rare sight, her polished blazer a contrast to my faded hoodie, the fabric whispering of her world. Her eyes widened as she scanned my evidence wall, a flicker of respect breaking through her usual disdain, a silent nod that softened our rift, but she warned me of Darius's counterattack, legal pressure from his network, a subtle threat to my platform's licensing. The news tightened my chest, a vice of anxiety, yet it fueled my defiance, a fire stoked by that dinner's slights. I collaborated with the Truth Rally community, staging a public forum to challenge Darius's media monopoly, the Pioneer Courthouse Square packed with 350 supporters under a drizzly sky, their chants a thunderous echo against his influence. My voice quivered as I unveiled the hack evidence and the buried scandal, a 2018 payoff to silence a whistleblower, the crowd's applause a tidal wave that drowned his credibility, boosting my subscribers to $3,200 monthly. But the cost was steep. Darius's lawyer sent a cease and desist letter, its crisp pages a paper tiger I handed to Mara, who advised a strategic pause to avoid escalation, her wisdom a lifeline amid the chaos. The truth emerged in a quiet, revelatory moment, a connection that tied the dinner to my present fight. Leo visited on a foggy evening, his hands clutching yellowed notes from a 2019 pitch I'd made to Darius's network. My first major story on city corruption, rejected and buried to protect his allies, a move that had cost me credibility and fueled his rise. His freeze at the dinner wasn't fear of my current exposé, but guilt over that suppression, a secret that haunted him as my platform grew. The realization hit like a breaking headline, my anger a searing flame mingled with a strange relief, the weight of years lifting slightly. I confronted him during the special's Q&A, the stream tense as I laid out the notes, his eyes avoiding the camera, his silence a confession that spoke louder than words. The chat erupted, his reputation crumbling like wet newsprint, my victory sealed not in court but in the court of public opinion. My savings dipped to $1,200 with legal fees, a sacrifice I bore willingly, but my valuation soared to $42,000, a number reflecting my resilience. The aftermath reshaped my world with a quiet strength. I secured a $4,000 contract with a watchdog group, their trust a bomb, my monthly earnings reaching $3,500, a steady beat that steadied my pulse. I upgraded my setup with a new recorder, its crisp sound a song of progress, and began a memoir, Unveiled Shadows, its pages a raw testament to my journey, each word a stroke of healing. Claire's visit softened our rift further, her apology a fragile bridge, her presence a rare warmth amid the room's damp chill, while Darius's network faced a subscriber exodus, his influence waning like a fading signal. Yet peace wavered when an anonymous tip arrived. "You've won this round, but watch your back." I froze, the paper trembling in my hands, Mara tracing it to a burner account, likely a remnant of Darius's circle. I hired a cybersecurity expert for $800, my savings dropping to $400, the apartment now a digital fortress with firewalls and alerts. Standing amid my files, the river aglow with dawn's first light, I felt a hard-won triumph, the laptops hum my ally. But the tip hinted at shadows. Darius's ally? A new rival? I sipped coffee, the steam curling upward, ready for whatever challenge loomed. Hey Revenge Tempest fans! Eliza's journey from outcast to exposé queen is electrifying. Loved it? Hit that subscribe button and join our community. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from.